walking around, seeing people just relax, and we have some great ones in Edmonton, and I know we got something exciting happening here.
Absolutely, I'll be telling you about a brand new festival happening in downtown Toronto, so stay tuned for that.
Now, you may be familiar with Beth Moore. She is a best-selling Bible study author, popular speaker, and she recently released this book of fiction.
Absolutely. I had the privilege of sitting down with some amazing women to read and talk about this great book. That discussion is just in a few minutes as well.
Did you get into it when you really got into the characters?
Do you see how thick this book is?
I know.
It's a good read. You're going to want to get your copy, especially after you see our conversation. You are going to be motivated to start your own book club and join us all this month.
I've been enjoying those segments, by the way. And our CEO, Lorna Duick, connects with a valued team member. Let's head over to Lorna right now.
We have a provocative blogger, John Stackhouse, in the Crossroads team. John helps us think on God at work in our moral, political, and social issues. How do you think, like a Christian, about tough issues? Well, the context blogger, John Stackhouse, is the professor of religious studies at Crandall University. He's the author of several great books on living with wisdom, but now his latest new work, Why You're Here. Ethics for the Real World. John, it's great to have you in the house.
Good to be back, thank you.
Okay, why did you write this book?
I grew up in northern Canada in a Christian home that told me basically two things. Don't be bad and talk about Jesus all you can. But it didn't tell me anything about how to go to school, how to play hockey, how to date a girl. It didn't tell me anything about most of what I did most of the time. So basically just don't be bad and try to talk about Jesus a lot. So I've been interested in thinking, what does ethics look like? And by that I mean, what does it mean to be a Christian all the time?
Okay, let's unpack ethics for a moment, because ethics really is don't be bad, isn't it?
Well,
define it better than that for me.
A lot of us think of ethics as just rules of yeses and nos and do's and don'ts. But the fundamental word in Greek, ethos, has to do with the character of something. What does it mean to be a television host? What does it mean to be a professor? And that would have to do not only with yeses and nos, but also like how you dress, how you talk, what friendships you might have. So what does it mean to be in the world like this kind of person? So here was about not only yeses and nos for Christians, but why are Christians in the world? Why are human beings here? Why did God make us? And so this book goes right back to the very first chapter of the Bible and says, why did God make human beings? Well, he made human beings because he loves to love and he loves to create creative creatures, and that's what he made us to be. And so the calling for human beings is to make the world a better place, to cultivate it, to take a good world and garden it. And this is something that all human beings do, not just Christians, of course. And then later in the Bible, we encounter Christians. Why? Well, because the world had a bad fall. Because, yes, while we do want to make the world better, we also have an appetite to make it worse. We have an appetite for mischief. We have an appetite for what the Bible calls sin. And so Christians work with God to help us rediscover the center of the world in God. And then by getting everybody back online, we can become what God meant us to be.
Okay, so then an ethic, the ethics of our lives are needed because we do have an appetite, let's just call it for mischief. Sin, it's great. I mean, it's a great understanding that we just get off the mark.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we understand then what God wants us to do about the ethics, about the rules?
One of the things I love about being a Christian is that God doesn't take anything of my life and say it doesn't matter. He actually cares about sports. He cares about art. He cares about romance. And he says, I want you to flourish. I want you to be everything you can be. And I grew up with the idea that God kind of didn't want that. He didn't want me to have much fun. He wanted me to keep my nose clean, drag a few people in with me, and then save us from hell. And God does want to save us from hell, but he wants to save us from all that's bad.
From making hell on earth.
Well, indeed. So he wants us to flourish. And God's vision at the beginning and the end of the Bible, first two chapters of the Bible, last two chapters of the Bible, anybody can look them up, show us this vision of a planet of richness and flourishing and abundance. This is what God wants for our lives.
So is there a baseline to decide what's good in an ethic? They're baseline.
Yes. Well, this is why God gave us the Bible. He gave us moral teachers, he gave us conscience, he gave us each other, but particularly because it's so easy to be confused, and because I have an appetite for badness as well, he gave us the Bible, which is a very complicated book. It's not easy to understand, but he gave us teachers as well to help us understand the Bible, and it's like an owner's manual. Owner's manuals for new cars nowadays, they're very complicated. 300 pages, owner's manuals, right?
Yeah, that's true. The owner manuals are as big as the Bible.
That's right. But it's a complicated machine, and the world's a complicated place. And the Bible's given to us. If we will learn how to read it properly, we will learn how to run ourselves and the world in an optimal way.
Okay, so stay with us because I'm going to put you on the hot seat with hot button issues about how to run the world. We're going to just run through them, a few of those hot button issues. We'll be right back.
If we're against euthanasia, and I think we should be because it's dangerous and it's in some ways immoral, what are we doing in terms of palliative care? What are we doing to make sure that it's not too frightening and too painful to be old or sick?
Media. This medium. Curated, created, constructed, and colluded to communicate, to influence, to connect, and entertain. With ease, with speed. Over 7 billion people yearning to connect, yearning to be fed, always looking out for whatever's cool, whatever's funny, whatever's trending. The medium is the message, but are we receiving the message? When everything is constantly moving, constantly changing, there is one thing that will not change, one thing that will outlast our lives, one thing that lasts longer than time itself, one thing that knows no bounds, no status, no color. That one thing has a name. As missionaries, we are here to share that one name, Jesus. Using the ease and speed of media to spread light to the lost, to communicate, to influence, to inform, to connect. We are media missionaries.
We're back with Professor John Stackhouse, the blogger at Context and the great voice that helps us understand how to live in the real world. Ethics are his specialty, his new book, Why You're Here. Okay, John, you're going to go through the hot button round issue with us now. Let's talk about first how to navigate ethics on political correctness. And this hit me recently on the Canada Summer Jobs. I couldn't just check off the box like the government wanted me to do on finding summer interns for here. And because you can't just say, oh, sure, I'll brush that aside, that I have a certain ethic about the value of life. I am pro-life. That doesn't fit with the current Liberal government. How do you navigate political correctness?
Well, I think this whole summer jobs fiasco is so interesting. I mean, when do you ever get the Toronto Star, the Toronto Globe and Mail, and the National Post agreeing on something? And they all agreed this is overreach. They all agreed that the Prime Minister is imposing his values on everybody else. So this has been a wake-up call that it's not just conservatives who can go too far. Our Liberal friends can go too far as well. I don't just mean capital C and capital L liberals and conservatives, but social conservatives, social liberals. So I appreciate that the Prime Minister, I think, is really trying to do what he thinks is best. But what he's not thought through, I think, properly, is how we as Canadians also value liberty and difference. We put Catholics and Protestants together and English and French together, and we've worked out things as best we can so far with First Nations. This is a complicated country. And to simplistically insist that everybody agree with the Prime Minister on this, bad idea.
So the ethic about political correctness is to live and say who you are, really. Don't let it be melted together like just we all have to be groupthink.
Well, yes, political correctness is just one group imposing its values on everybody else. And if we didn't like it when the Christians did it, we're not going to like it when other people do it.
Okay. Next hot button issue. It used to be normal that you did not kill yourself. I love it how you've written in one of your columns. We used to ask, let God decide, you know, about our end of life. And now we have documented cases. There's been over 2,000 euthanasias. We even have documented cases of aging, of just being a senior is a reason to be able to ask a doctor to help kill yourself. Explain that one to the grandchildren. Like, what are we going to do about deciding an ethic on euthanasia?
This reminds me of the abortion debates of 30 years ago when people would say, we're against abortion, and the comeback was, well, what are you doing for the pregnant moms, right? And I would say the same thing here. If we're against euthanasia, and I think we should be because it's dangerous and it's in some ways immoral, what are we doing in terms of palliative care? What are we doing to make sure that it's not too frightening and too painful to be old or sick?
Okay, but conscience care for our Ontario doctors is about to get thrown under the bus. What do we do there? A doctor can no longer say, no, I will not refer for euthanasia.
Yes, and I think that's another example of political correctness, of overreach. I think that the Ontario Physicians College has gone way too far.
Thousands of parents, not just Christian, left the public school system in protest last year over sexual ethics, including gender confusion issues in the school system. Are we here to en masse make an army like that?
Well, I think we want to try to hang in there with our society as best we can. These are our fellow human beings, and they're trying to find their way in the world and trying to honor each other and make the world flourish. So I tend to be pretty pro-public schools until I can't be. And so I think we have to hang in there. Jesus wanted us to be in the world. He said, I don't want you to just take yourself out of it. I understand Christian schooling, and I think in certain situations it makes a lot of sense. And I think what we want to try to do is work with our elected officials and school boards, our education officials, and say, do you really want us to go into our own schools? If you want us to hang in there, you got to make room for us too. And we need to use the language that our friends from immigrant populations have used, that our friends from Jewish populations have used, that our friends from LGBTQ have used, and say, make room for us too, and we'll be partners with you. Don't drive us out. And we've been driven out in many respects from some of the political parties in Canada. We've been driven out from some of the public institutions in Canada, and that's not Canadian.
Okay, John Stackhouse, good thing you wrote the rest of it in a book. Why you're here. Ethics for the Real World. Don't read it fast. Take time to learn well with it. And here's how you can get your copy of it. It's just a special offer for our wonderful viewers. John, thank you very much for teaching us about ethics.
Good to see you.
Join Yes TV for a Stampede breakfast off the back of the Yes TV Chuck Wagon. Watch for Robert Melnichuk and his crew taping on the grounds for the Yes TV Calgary Stampede Special. And come cheer on the Yes TV Chuck Wagon at the GMC Rangeland Derby Saturday night.
Can I take a moment and just ask you a question? Do you have some challenges in your life? You know, are you feeling lonely? Maybe you've lost a loved one, going through divorce, sickness, whatever it might be. Please know we always have people standing by, ready to talk to you. There are people just full of compassion. They're on the other side of the prayer lines because they really care. I really do encourage you to contact them today. And, you know, they won't judge you or anything like that. And regardless of where you're on your spiritual journey, they're there by phone. You can give a call, 1-866-273-4444. Or if you don't want to call, but you want to inquire, we have email address available to you at prayer@crossroads.ca. Well, I hope you've been enjoying our summer reading book club. I know I have been. I just love the dialogue between the ladies. And you'll enjoy the selection. It's a fiction novel by best-selling author Beth Moore entitled The Undoing of St. Sylvanus. And here's some discussion with the book club girls.
All I'm going to say is chapter 32. That's all I'm going to say, because that's what I just jumped. So I'll just leave that with you at home.
Yeah.
You know, spiritual warfare, spiritual realms is highlighted in this book. And so as she delves into the spiritual realm as well, I know I'm not a big fan of scary movies or things like that. But I was just like, Beth, where are you taking us? But also, again, truth and reality, especially in New Orleans, you know, that's the spiritual realm is very big. What were your thoughts on that?
I was scared. I was scared. There were times when I did have to put the book down, like I said earlier, because it was like, whew, I am just like shaking right now. But as I think Ruth said it earlier, it's a reality check. And so some of the you know, the paths that some of the characters chose to go down, that is real life for many. And, you know, kind of exposing themselves in ways that, unbeknownst to them, is putting them in really, as a reader, you're like, no! But for them, they don't realize. And that's real life. That's real life stuff. And so, you know, I appreciated the reminder of just, this is the real world. You know, we are wanting to be the hands and feet of Christ. We have to be sensitive to the fact that we might be aware of some things that to someone else, they're oblivious to maybe the danger or the harm or whatever. So it's just interesting how it all kind of comes together. Yeah.
You know, I'm glad she went there. I think that, you know, we as Christians, you know, we can't stay in the bubble. You know, that whole thing about, you know, we are, you know, we're in the world. And so, you know, a book like this to give us insight and I think help and understanding helps us. And I don't think that you can be afraid of it. And I'll be honest, Maggie, there are people on blogs that are like, oh, because of that, we're not going to read it. Well, no. Like what we're saying is this is actually good for us as people who say we follow Jesus to know what's going on, pray, do due diligence and be intentional about how to help others, how to pray, how to support in your church, whatever it is. It's being informed. And I think as Christians, we do a disservice if we don't, you know, we don't look for, I'm not saying look for, but we shy away from being informed, reading, studying. That doesn't do us any good for the world if we're gonna reach them. And so I think I'm actually proud of Beth because it could have been the easy way to kind of gloss over and like it's like one page and then everything worked out.
Or not even mention it.
Or not even mention it. Or then they prayed and everything was fine. Right? Like yay, you know. But I think that takes courage. It takes courage for, you know, someone like Beth, who on the platform people see her as this way to then write this, but it also is great because it helps us. And I think that's a great part of the book.
It's summer. What a perfect time to enjoy reading an exciting new novel from a very familiar name, New York Times bestselling author and Bible teacher, Beth Moore.
The Undoing of St. Sylvanus is a story about, well, that's for me to know and for you to find out.
This special book will take your imagination on a summer vacation to New Orleans, where a wily house manager and a cast of saints and sinners bond together to expose the forces that took the life of the father, while daughter Jillian walks a web of spiritual and personal danger. It's a riveting fictional story you'll enjoy. Quantities are limited, so call today to request your personal copy, 1-800-265-3100, or visit crossroads.ca/donate. And thank you for giving to 100 Huntley Street this month. Well, my next guests are throwing a party, and you're invited. This Sunday, July 15th, is the Victorious Festival at Dundas Square in downtown Toronto. To tell us more, I'm joined by Christine Hanna and Lawrence Arton. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So tell us what's happening on Sunday.
So Victorious Festival is going to be just a really, really good time. This is actually our 4th year putting it on. It's right in the heart of downtown Toronto, so at Yonge Dundas Square. And there's going to be music and food and entertainment, and it's just a really, really great time to come hang out with your old friends or to make new friends. We've got a really good lineup. There's going to be Building 429 and Flame and a local worship band and For the Fairest. So there's just going to be tons of really good entertainment, and live music is always the best.
Yes.
So it's going to be a really, really fun time. Yeah.
And what's the motivation behind this, Lawrence?
Well, when Land of Hope started, we were actually looking...
And Land of Hope is the charity that's running Victorious
Yeah, it's the
Festival.
nonprofit organization that we're part of.
Yeah.
The whole vision behind Land of Hope was to spread the good news through the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ. And Victorious Festival was actually one of the services that we were actually bestowing to go on and perform and having people come out there and listen to the good word.
So when you started Victorious Festival the first year, what was the response like?
Well, it was tremendous.
Yeah.
We had thousands and thousands of people come by. As you know, heart of downtown, they have a ton of traffic coming by. We had food vendors all over. We had Flame come out. He was off the hook. And it was just...
He's a local rapper.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he was a Grammy nominated, actually. And it was just a block party, just expanded.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was great. It was unanticipated for us, but we loved it.
So it's going to be a big party this Sunday. Tell me a little bit more about Land of Hope.
Sure. So we are a nonprofit organization. Right now we're 11 core members. It's not our main job. It's not what all of us do for a living. We actually all have our own jobs outside of Land of Hope, but it's just we meet together and we plan things and do outreach events and do festivals like Victorious Festival. It's just a way to plant seeds of hope into our community and to give back to our community and just to spread the good news of salvation. Like I feel like we live in such a really broken world and there's so much sadness and so much despair and so much negativity. So it's so nice to be able to just kind of break that a little bit and just to infuse people with a glimmer of something bigger than them, something that can really fulfill them and give them joy, like complete joy that maybe they've never even experienced before.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And with Land of Hope, right, we, you know, being out there, we started out in 2012, I believe, in Montreal. But when it really hit the road running, it was 2014 with Shadi, our founder, when he came over to Toronto with his wife, Sarah. And basically, it was just a group of friends, and now it just has grown into 11 members or just volunteers, but they made sure that the service is the priority. And, you know, we have full-time jobs, and Land of Hope does solely run on donations from individuals all the way to big organizations. So God has really blessed it.
Yeah. And Victorious Festival is one of many things that you guys do.
Right.
Tell me about your homelessness outreach and what you do with that.
So the program is called Impact. It's a community outreach, and it has a wide range of services underneath it. We have soup kitchens. We have community builds. For example, we team up with Habitat for Humanity. We go on sandwich runs. We participated on Christmas Child operation, and Impact is basically looking for ways to empower the needy. So we have future projects that are on the way that are going to be based out of downtown Toronto. And it's basically, again, that vision of, you know, preaching the gospel to all those that need it, because we know it's out there.
And speaking of that, you also have an Arabic outreach as well.
Yes.
Tell us about that, Christine.
Yes. So it's funny you asked me because I probably speak the least Arabic in our group, but our whole group is actually somewhat
Arabic.
Middle Eastern.
Yes.
They all have like an Arabic origin. So we do once-a-year conferences, and it's not just in Toronto. We've spread between here and Montreal and Calgary. We've kind of traveled to a couple of different cities and done conferences in Arabic to reach out to the Arabic-speaking people. There's just a huge community that just needs to hear about Christ, and not even just for unbelievers, but for believers who just need to be refreshed. So we organize these conferences with worship and with ministry meetings that can just empower and lift up Christians, as well as spread the gospel to draw others to Christ. So it's a really great opportunity, I think.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Now, both of you said that you have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And this is a volunteer opportunity that you take advantage of. But what is the motivation behind giving your free time to an organization like this?
I'll go first.
To be honest, it was I've been raised in Canada, right? And having the opportunity to join something that's greater than you are, right? And in a comfortable atmosphere, which is amongst friends. So essentially, that's what Land of Hope. We're all friends. We came around the table, we come up with ideas, and we go out there and do it. And God has blessed us immensely, and we see His fingerprints on everything we do. You know, from the downs to the low, to the highs, and that's what keeps us going. We never knew it can get to this, but it's been a great journey
It's
so
grown
far.
quite a bit. And when God's given you something and you're able to give it forward to
Yeah.
someone else and just spread that message, because the gospel is not something for us to keep and self-contained. Like, it needs to go out. It needs to be spread, because there's still so many people that, you know, haven't heard or haven't had access to the good news of salvation. So
Absolutely.
it's nice that God's given us the ability to pour it out to other people.
All right, so the date is July 15th.
Yes.
Mark your calendars. There's going to be a party. I hope you're going to be there. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Felt like the end of the world to me, and it felt like I didn't have anything left to live for.
Rather than being elated or thanking God that I was still alive, that I had another chance, I started picking up more Ambien off the floor that I'd spilled.
At the revelation of Jesus Christ, our trials will result in purpose and honor and glory.
I hadn't done anything except gotten prayed for, and I wanted to know more.
The person that says hope is what keeps me alive can also go, well, wait a minute, if I have hope, there must be joy here too.
And then we see that, wait, there's purpose in my difficulty, there's purpose in my trials.
I tell people that I took my own life and God gave it back to me.
I felt something I'd never felt before, which I now know is the Holy Spirit.
This moment doesn't have to define me. With sorrow, with grief, with anxiety.
Jesus heals, and that there is hope for me, and it doesn't matter what doctors say, and it's just like somebody gives you an injection of life.
I love a party, Maggie.
Yeah.
And look, that's going to be a great event,
Yeah.
and for a great cause, homelessness and helping people out. You know, and
it's free,
And it's
by the
free.
way.
That's even the best part
Even
of it all.
better.
But I was thinking about something John Stackhouse had said earlier on. You know that God loves art.
Yeah.
He loves sports. Can you believe that? So Elton and I are okay, and your boys. You know, and he doesn't want to. He's not a killjoy.
Yeah.
He wants us to have fun, clean fun. We can live a healthy life. But that's what, you know, God created us, gave us these gifts and these abilities to do things and then enjoy life.
I think that's such a great point, because when we think and we look at Genesis, I mean, it's all about creation. It's all about creativity that God created us. You know, I was talking to Ethan, our 11-year-old, the other day, and I was saying, you know, the fascination of our fingerprint. And even a little snowflake, if you look at it, they're all so different. And that takes a creative God to be able to do that. So how do we show our love for God in our creativity? We can do that so freely, and I think this is a great festival to show that.
It is, you know, and I, as a parent, and that's one thing with my kids, I said, you know what, go for your dreams. And one of my youngest daughters is a poet, and recently on Father's Day, she just wrote to me and said, Dad, thank you for allowing me to have my dreams. God has a dream for your life, and if you've not yet made that commitment to Jesus, begin the adventure, 1-866-273-4444. I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy ride, but I promise it will not be boring.
Absolutely. Well, tomorrow we have Deborah Manou's story of the 60s scoop. She was a survivor of that. Great story that you're going to want to tune into. And if you have a story that you'd love to share with us, go to 100huntley.com, click on the icon there, and tell us your story. Have a great day.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you for your ongoing support of Crossroads, a member of the Canadian Council of Christian Charities. You can write to Crossroads, P.O. Box 5100, Burlington, Ontario, L7R 4M2.
This program sponsored in part by DL Deeks Insurance, home of the Evangelical Group Plan. For quality service and great rates on your auto, property, or commercial insurance, call us today or visit our website at deeksinsurance.ca.
The The following program is sponsored by Operation Smile Canada. Every 3 minutes, a child is born with cleft lip or cleft palate. In many countries, they can't get the surgery they need.
I feel bad when they stare at her. They say, "Look how ugly she is." I feel very happy. I don't know how to explain it. She looks brand new.
He gets upset when he drinks because it falls out of his mouth. Before he looked so different, but now he looks good and that makes me happy. He's very handsome now. People say he was born like a monster. We have prayed for this moment to happen. He's gorgeous, precious, very precious. No one is going to recognize him at home.
What if your child were born with a cleft lip or a cleft palate, and you couldn't afford surgery? And we can't imagine that in Canada, but that's the heartbreaking reality for children in the world's poorest countries. They're destined to a lifetime of suffering. But there's hope. Operation Smile is providing free surgeries for these children, thanks to our volunteer medical teams and caring Canadians like you.
An international team of medical volunteers have arrived here to perform cleft lip and cleft palate surgery. More than 200 patients have traveled from all across Nicaragua with the hope of receiving a free surgery. But there are too many to help everyone this time. For most of these anxious parents, Operation Smile is their only hope. Yearling and her daughter Mariana live in a remote village far from the medical mission site. Yearling is a determined mom who will do anything to save her baby. She remembers the day when Mariana was born with both a cleft lip and palate.
Right after I gave birth, the doctor showed her to me, and in that moment, all I could do was cry and cry.
It's been painful to endure the stares and taunts from others, so she rarely leaves the house.
They say, "Look how ugly she is." I feel bad when they stare at her, and they think she looks strange.
Mariana has been malnourished because of her cleft. That's why it's so critical that she gets the surgery she needs. On screening day, Mariana is examined by the medical team to make sure she's healthy. Yearling's hopes build as she realizes that her baby will soon be able to get the surgery that will change her life forever.
In some countries, when they're born with a cleft lip and a cleft palate, they can either be abandoned by their parents, or if they're not abandoned, they will be neglected, they'll be bullied.
They have trouble with nutrition, they can't eat, they can't get enough calories, it all comes back out their nose.
I've seen children locked in a closet for 17 years so they can't escape at night. I've seen children who have never gone to school because they have a cleft lip or palate.
And it's just completely unfair, especially when you consider that what it takes is a 45-minute surgery in the hands of a skilled surgeon to repair a cleft lip or palate. How could we not do that?
Five-year-old Harving is from a poor village in the mountains of Nicaragua, where there's no possibility of getting a cleft surgery. It's a 4-day trip by bus and on foot. When Harving's family heard that Operation Smile was coming, his Aunt Susanna was chosen to take him.
I feel sad because in the community we live in, no one else has lips like his.
With both a cleft lip and cleft palate, it's been impossible for Harving to eat and drink normally.
He gets so upset when he's drinking. When it falls out of his mouth, he asks, "Why does it come out of my mouth?" And I tell him, "It's because of your lip, that's why."
He's been bullied and shunned because of the way he looks. But the medical volunteers make him feel special and loved. And Susanna gets more relaxed as she realizes these strangers have come to heal him.
Operation Smile began when my wife Kathy and I were asked to go on a medical trip to the Philippines to take care of children who were born with cleft lips and cleft palates.
Everywhere we turned, people were tugging at our sleeves and begging us to help their children. We were able to operate on 40 children that year, but we turned away 250. It was heartbreaking for us. So we gathered a group of our friends and came back and took care of all those children that we turned away.
That decision literally changed the course and the direction of our lives, our family's life, and I believe our values in life. We organized more teams to help more children, and Operation Smile was born. We provided hundreds of thousands of surgeries. But there are so many more children who are still waiting for our help.
In the crowd of hundreds at our mission site is a woman named Myrna. She's fiercely protective of the adorable baby in her arms. Yet he's not even her child. Her young niece gave birth to little Joseph 8 months ago, and then abandoned the baby because of his cleft. Fearing he would die, Myrna rescued Joseph. She has 2 other children, but vowed to raise Joseph as her own.
All babies deserve love, but these babies deserve the most love. People say he was born like a monster. Since the baby was born, we have prayed for this moment to happen.
Myrna sacrificed everything and borrowed money to make the 15-hour bus trip here.
I'm just waiting for the moment they tell us he can have the surgery or not.
Then there is enormous relief that her prayers are answered. It's good news for Myrna, but so many others are not so fortunate.
And I'm so sorry.
They are told to come back because we can't help everyone this time.
This is one of the hardest parts of the mission, is telling a mom that her baby can't have surgery. And I'm a mom and I see the disappointment in her eyes. And I'm disappointed too. So we will be back with the help of our donors. Our work is still really needed, and until the day that there's no more children with cleft lip or palate in the world, Operation Smile will keep coming back. Our team is very sad too.
Todo el equipo está muy triste.
As volunteers, it breaks our hearts to have to turn children away, especially when the only thing standing in the way of surgery is time and money. Right now, you can help these desperate parents and children who can only hope and only pray for a miracle. Together with caring people across Canada, you can be that miracle for a child. Stay with us to see the amazing difference you can make.
You can help provide a complete surgery for a waiting child right now for $240. Just $240 transforms a child's life forever. Or if you prefer, you can give $20 a month. Your gifts will send our medical volunteers and equipment to remote places and help ensure we can provide free, safe surgery to every child in need, so no child has to be turned away. Thousands of children are waiting. Call now or go to operationsmile.ca.
An Operation Smile volunteer medical team has come to Nicaragua to perform a week of free surgeries for children born with cleft lip and cleft palate. It's surgery morning.
Sí. All right.
and Yearling calmly hands her child to the nurse.
We'll take very good care of her. Okay, all righty. Let's go, baby.
Then come the tears, after holding them in for so long. Mariana goes to sleep, and the team repairs her cleft lip.
We operate in some of the world's poorest and most remote places, and yet we do not sacrifice quality. We bring everything from the medicine and the anesthesia to the sutures and all of the surgical equipment that we need.
Should we take Mommy inside, right?
The moment Yearling has been waiting for is finally here. There's no greater joy than for a mother to see her child's face healed for the very first time. It's a feeling that is beyond words.
Hello, my little Marianita, my little treasure, my precious little baby. You're going to look in the mirror and you're going to see that you're very pretty, like you've always been. My tiny, precious one.
On surgery day, Harving shows no signs of worry. The Operation Smile volunteers make sure he's entertained, and a smile bag is filled with toys he loves. He has a chance to meet his volunteer plastic surgeon outside the operating room.
You got it. Pop. Pop.
87. Harving, okay.
When it's time to go in, he can't wait. Less than an hour later, Susanna is reunited with Harving. She stares at his new face in disbelief.
Before he looked so different, but now he looks good. I feel happy. He's very handsome now.
It's an emotional day as Myrna gets ready for Joseph's surgery. She is amazed to see the before and after photos of other babies.
Joseph, Joel, Martina? It's an incredibly moving experience to be a volunteer on an Operation Smile mission. And I see the children the morning as they're going into surgery to check them one last time to make sure they're healthy for surgery.
Okay, tell her I'm going to take him back. We'll take very good care of him, I promise you.
I can't imagine what that must be like for a parent to hand over their child to a complete stranger, just the trust that they have in us, and that we really work very hard to let them know that we are caring for their children just as we would care for our own. And then in 45 short minutes, we get to see this child emerge from the operating room, a brand new person with a beautiful face. And one of the most poignant moments of a mission is when a parent and a child are reunited for the first time in the recovery room. It's an incredible moment, and they fall in love all over again. And at that moment, it really feels like a rebirth for these children, that they are finally entering the world with a fair chance at life.
He's gorgeous. precious, very precious. No one is going to recognize him at home. I think it's a new day for everyone because now my baby is fixed.
The next morning, Myrna's face radiates pure joy. And Joseph is captivated looking at his new face.
Your heart has to feel it first. And then you can say to yourself, well, what if I gave up lunch tomorrow and gave those dollars to a child who didn't have a chance at a normal life? Then you become as important a part of our team as any surgeon, anesthesiologist, or nurse. Because of you, we were able to change the life of a child somewhere who may never, ever know your name, but will never forget your kindness.
If you've been moved by what you've seen, don't let this moment slip away. Join caring people all across Canada, and together with volunteers like me, you'll give a child a new smile and change their life forever. Call now or go online. Thank you so much for your generous support.
They're ridiculed, rejected, sometimes even hidden away. Thousands will die. Every 3 minutes, a child is born with cleft lip or cleft palate. In many countries, they can't afford the surgery they need. You can help provide a complete surgery for a waiting child right now for $240. Just $240 transforms a child's life forever. Over 5,000 of the world's top doctors and nurses are standing by to volunteer their time. Most of the medical supplies are donated. We're ready to be in more countries and reach more children, but we can't do it without your help. That's why it's so important that you call right now with your gift of $240 to help provide surgery for a waiting child. Or if you prefer, you can give $20 a month. Your gifts will help send our medical volunteers and equipment to remote places and help train local doctors and nurses so we can provide safe surgery and follow-up care free of charge. Call now or go to operationsmile.ca. You'll receive inspiring before and after photos, and you'll also get information about how your gifts are used and the difference you're making around the world. You can even give automatically on your debit or credit card. It's convenient and saves money so that more goes directly to help children. When you use your debit or credit card, we'll send you this official Operation Smile t-shirt to help spread the word.
What Operation Smile is doing is truly changing someone's life.
It's just amazing, the transformation. Donating, I feel that I am part of this great and fantastic team.
It's a rebirth, they're reborn, and their future is now almost unlimited, it seems, whereas before they saw themselves as imperfect and unworthy.
When I look at the before and after picture, their eyes are lit up, their faces are lit up. They look so different.
I know that the amount that I give is making a child smile.
$240 can help provide a surgery that will change a child's life forever. Or a gift of any amount will make a difference.
We need to do more. We need to be in more places. We need to help more kids. And we can't do it without you.
Thousands of children are waiting. Please call or go online now. Help us change lives. One smile at a time.
It's just like magic to see the change just in a matter of an hour or two.
It's a miracle. It truly is. We as donors create the miracles.
Every 3 minutes, a child is born with cleft lip or cleft palate. In many countries, they can't get the surgery they need.
It hurts in my heart when I hear people saying mean things about her. When I heard about Operation Smile, a free surgery, I could cry with joy. I waited so long for this moment.
They don't understand what he says, so they hit him. The way you repaired Kenny's lip looks so good. I wouldn't know what to do if it had not been for Operation Smile.
She's ashamed because people laugh at her.
When she cries like this, it hurts me in my heart.
I am very happy to see her so beautifully fixed.
We will celebrate as if we had a newborn baby.
Hundreds of thousands of children around the world are living with cleft lip and cleft palate, and 500 more are born each day. Many are destined to a lifetime of suffering because their families can't afford the surgery to repair it. It's hard to imagine in Canada, but there's hope. Operation Smile is providing free surgeries for these children, and it's all thanks to our volunteer medical teams and the generosity of caring Canadians like you.
Hundreds of children and parents have arrived at this hospital in Tamatave, Madagascar, desperate to receive a free surgery from Operation Smile. Some have traveled days to get here. Operation Smile's volunteer medical team has come to provide as many free surgeries as possible. For all the patients here, this is their only hope. Eliza is a shining star. She's 3 years old. Her mother, Sidoni, remembers the day she was born.
I was sad. I was so sad. I really wanted to cry when people came to visit us and were unkind with us. I still remember how much I suffered. People can say that she's ugly. She doesn't know how to speak. But it's my girl, and I will always love her. It hurts in my heart when I hear people saying mean things about her. Then I heard about Operation Smile, a free surgery. So I looked for money to pay the bus fee. We sold our pig and our cassava field. That's how we could come here.
In screening, it's discovered that Eliza has a fever. She may not be healthy enough for surgery. This would be devastating for a family that has sacrificed so much just to get here.
The most immediate impact of a cleft palate on a child is in feeding, and so they're quite prone to becoming malnourished. Food tends to go up through the palate into the nose and come out through the nose when they're feeding.
By having a cleft, they feel like they've dishonored their family. They feel like it's their fault. They feel like they've brought bad luck on generations to come.
I've seen kids that have had rocks thrown at them, they're put to the side. You can tell they're being made fun of. I've literally seen kids that live in a hut by themselves.
What happens to a lot of those babies is they're actually buried alive. So this is a true blessing to be able to actually change a person's life.
Why should any child anywhere on this planet have to live a life of misery because there's no one there to help them? There's just no justice in that.
Nine-year-old Kenny is a sweet boy who smiles easily despite the suffering he's known because of his cleft lip and cleft palate.
When Kenny was born, he was like this. I'd never seen anyone like this before, anywhere.
Other people treated him like an outcast.
It makes me sad that they fight with him because he can't speak clearly. They don't understand what he says, so they hit him. They say, "Ugly cleft lip, look at your teeth," and it makes him so upset. I always wished that someday he would get fixed. So I tried to find money, but I couldn't.
Then Rodine learned Kenny could get a free surgery at this Operation Smile medical mission. How comforting it must be to learn Kenny is not alone, and that his cleft is not a curse, but a medical condition that can be repaired.
I will be so happy when he is fixed.
Operation Smile began when my wife Kathy and I were asked to go on a medical trip to the Philippines to take care of children who were born with cleft lips and cleft palates.
Everywhere we turned, people were tugging at our sleeves and begging us to help their children. We were able to operate on 40 children that year, but we turned away 250. It was heartbreaking for us. So we gathered a group of our friends and came back and took care of all those children that we turned away.
That decision literally changed the course and the direction of our lives, our family's life, and I believe our values in life. We organized more teams to help more children, and Operation Smile was born. We provided hundreds of thousands of surgeries. But there are so many more children who are still waiting for our help.
"13-year-old Philippine is the only one from her village who has a cleft lip. As far back as she can remember, people have stared at her, called her names, and even hit her. There is nothing her parents Ederine and Mitchell could do. And so Philippine has had to live every day with her pain.
She's ashamed because people laugh at her. She cries because she's ashamed. Shame brings tears down.
It hurts in my heart that my daughter doesn't look like other people. When she cries like this, it hurts me in my heart. It's because she doesn't look like other people that she cries. It makes me sad.
Ederine and Mitchell have also been tormented.
What makes us sad is that people laugh at me and they gossip about us, saying what have they done that their girl was born this way. But God gave her to us. I will always raise her. I won't abandon her.
Then they heard about a free surgery with Operation Smile. It was 2 days walking and 1 day on a bus to get here. This is an overwhelming experience. Philippine sees all of the other children with clefts and realizes she is not alone. On every mission, there are always children and parents who won't be selected for surgery. They'll have to wait until another Operation Smile team comes back.
The saddest part about a mission is for us to tell a child no, because we don't have room on a mission.
The more donors, the less no's. So I think our life will just be better with more donors.
If it was my child, do you think I want to hear come back next year? Thousands of kids are born every year all over this world without access to any surgery. We can change it. We can fix this problem.
As volunteers, it breaks our hearts to have to turn children away, especially when the only thing standing in the way of surgery is time and money. Right now, you can help these desperate parents and children who can only hope and only pray for a miracle. Together with caring people across Canada, you can be that miracle for a child. Stay with us to see the amazing difference you can make.
You can help provide a complete surgery for a waiting child right now for $240. Just $240 transforms a child's life forever. Or if you prefer, you can give $20 a month. Your gifts will send our medical volunteers and equipment to remote places and help ensure we can provide free, safe surgery to every child in need, so no child has to be turned away. Thousands of children are waiting. Call now or go to operationsmile.ca.
An Operation Smile volunteer medical team has come to Madagascar to perform a week of free surgeries to children born with cleft lip and cleft palate.
Ask him, does he remember when I came to talk yesterday with him?
Kenny's excited about all the gear he gets to play with before he goes into surgery this morning.
They do a good pound.
He even gets to meet his surgeon.
Hey, how you doing? Good?
When it's time, he goes eagerly with a smile.
There's just you and this patient that's in dire need of a simple surgery. And you can pretty much help them have a gift of life back. And it's just a magical thing to be able to do. But a kid like this that ends up born just by luck in some other spot and has no access to medical care will never get treated unless somebody like us comes and helps them out.
Second bed? Yes, please.
In less than an hour, surgery is over, and it's time for Rodine to see her son.
People will be so happy. They will ask, how did his lip get fixed? It was split, and now it's together. I wouldn't know what to do without Operation Smile. I didn't have the money to get him the operation, so he would have stayed unfixed.
Is it okay for him to eat and he drinks and eat and everything?
Still swollen from surgery, Kenny's not ready to smile. But he's content to look at the handsome boy in the mirror. And his mom is thrilled.
It's so beautiful. The way you repaired Kenny's lip looks so good. Everything is okay, so thank you.
During medical screening, the team discovered that Eliza may have been too sick for surgery. But to everyone's relief, the sickness has passed and she's ready to go.
We operate in some of the world's poorest and most remote places, and yet we do not sacrifice quality. We bring everything from the medicine and the anesthesia to the sutures and all of the surgical equipment that we need.
Finally, Sidoni gets to see her daughter.
I could cry with joy. I've waited so long for this moment. Thank you so much for taking care of my baby. This is really like a dream come true. People will never believe me when I tell them she once had a cleft lip. And now she is beautiful.
It's the day Philippine has been waiting for. Before surgery, she learns about anesthesia. Her excitement grows when she sees photos of how other children have been transformed. You can imagine her thinking, can this really happen to me? It all becomes very real when the anesthesiologist comes to escort her to the operating room. She's ready to go. Though her cleft looks severe, the surgery only takes about an hour. The difference is incredible. Her dad can hardly believe his eyes.
She looks so beautiful, like her friends. Finally, my dream has come true. We will celebrate as if we had a newborn baby, because we are happy.
The next day, Mom returns with Philippine's baby sister. The whole family is brimming with joy.
I am very happy to see her so beautifully fixed.
When Philippine looks in the mirror for the first time, she's mesmerized. Her dream has come true.
Your heart has to feel it first. And then you can say to yourself, well, what if I gave up lunch tomorrow and gave those dollars to a child who didn't have a chance at a normal life? Then you become as important a part of our team as any surgeon, anesthesiologist, or nurse. Because of you, we were able to change the life of a child somewhere who may never, ever know your name, but will never forget your kindness.
If you've been moved by what you've seen, don't let this moment slip away. Join caring people all across Canada, and together with volunteers like me, you'll give a child a new smile and change their life forever. Call now or go online. Thank you so much for your generous support.
They're ridiculed, rejected, sometimes even hidden away. Thousands will die. Every 3 minutes, a child is born with cleft lip or cleft palate. In many countries, they can't afford the surgery they need. You can help provide a complete surgery for a waiting child right now for $240. Just $240 transforms a child's life forever. Over 5,000 of the world's top doctors and nurses are standing by to volunteer their time. Most of the medical supplies are donated. We're ready to be in more countries and reach more children, but we can't do it without your help. That's why it's so important that you call right now with your gift of $240 to help provide surgery for a waiting child. Or if you prefer, you can give $20 a month. Your gifts will help send our medical volunteers and equipment to remote places and help train local doctors and nurses so we can provide safe surgery and follow-up care free of charge. Call now or go to operationsmile.ca. You'll receive inspiring before and after photos, and you'll also get information about how your gifts are used and the difference you're making around the world. You can even give automatically on your debit or credit card. It's convenient and saves money so that more goes directly to help children. When you use your debit or credit card, we'll send you this official Operation Smile t-shirt to help spread the word.
I could see how so little could make such a big difference.
It's just amazing, the transformation. Donating, I feel that I am part of this great and fantastic team.
I think it's going to a good place, and it's being wisely spent. And I like that.
I don't know how you cannot be involved when you see the before and after. These children are so changed.
You just want to hug them and feel the joy that you are part of the beautiful smile. What more do you want?
It's just like magic to see the change just in a matter of an hour or two.
It's a miracle. It truly is. We as donors create the miracles.
$240 can help provide a surgery that will change a child's life forever. Or a gift of any amount will make a difference.
We need to do more. We need to be in more places. We need to help more kids. And we can't do it without you.
Thousands of children are waiting. Please call or go online now. Help us change lives. One smile at a time.
What Operation Smile is doing is truly changing someone's life.
With this, 45 minutes to an hour, you see it in front of your eyes. It's instant. It's instant. A life and lives have changed. That really appeals to me.
It's a rebirth. They're reborn. And their future is now almost unlimited, it seems. Whereas before, they saw themselves as imperfect and unworthy.
How can I not feel part of a team? I know that the amount that I give is making a child smile.
Every 3 minutes, a child is born with cleft lip or cleft palate. In many countries, they can't get the surgery they need.
When they make fun of him, I feel so bad. This is my son. I am so happy because he is now okay. My son's lip is fixed.
I said, why do you call her a cleft lip? It hurts us a lot. Why do you have to mock her? Oh, look at my daughter. My daughter looks so good. And she will grow up to be a beautiful young woman.
They always mock him and tease him because he's not normal like the other children. I did not recognize him. He looks so good. they won't be teasing or mocking him anymore.
What if your child were born with a cleft lip or a cleft palate, and you couldn't afford surgery? And we can't imagine that in Canada, but that's the heartbreaking reality for children in the world's poorest countries. They're destined to a lifetime of suffering. But there's hope. Operation Smile is providing free surgeries for these children, thanks to our volunteer medical teams and caring Canadians like you.
A team of Operation Smile medical volunteers has traveled from all over the world to provide free surgeries in this remote region of the Philippines. 170 patients have gathered with their families, hoping for their chance to receive surgery.
You could start. No, 5 years old. This is 5 years old. 5 months.
But not all of them can be helped. Many will have to be turned away. It's an emotional time for parents and children who have been waiting, some for many years. Al J and his mom, Anita, took a long bus ride to get to the Operation Smile medical mission site. After Al J was born, the neighbors told her to get rid of him.
You should kill your son, they said, because he looks like a monster. He always comes right home after school because the children mock him and tease him. He doesn't go anywhere. When they make fun of him, I feel so bad. I always tell them, this is my son.
With no money for surgery, they prayed for a miracle.
Do you feel that?
Operation Smile is the answer to their prayer.
There we go. That's a good blood pressure.
This is the first time Al J has seen children who look like him. He doesn't feel so alone anymore.
Superstar!
With both a cleft lip and palate, Al J has a hard time speaking, eating, and drinking. Surgery can transform his entire future.
Children born with cleft lip or cleft palate face unimaginable suffering. They can't eat, they can't drink, they're hidden away. They're bullied and ostracized. Some are even buried alive. It's horrible. We truly are their only hope.
Why should any child anywhere on this planet have to live a life of misery because there's no one there to help them? There's just no justice in that.
6-year-old Maria's days are sad and lonely. When she was born, her mother, Melanie, blamed herself for her daughter's cleft lip.
I was very sad when I gave birth to her. I asked, why is she like this? Did I commit a sin? Did I do something to make her like this? They mock her, and it is very painful. They look down on us as if we are beneath them.
A neighbor encouraged her children to taunt Maria and call her cleft lip.
I said, why do you tell your daughter to call her a cleft lip? You know that she has that already. Why do you have to say it again? It hurts us a lot. Why do you have to mock her?
I think we're starting like here.
When Melanie heard that the Operation Smile teams would be providing free surgeries, she borrowed new clothes and shoes for Maria to wear. Maria warms up under the loving care of our medical volunteers. Melanie is hoping and praying that Maria will be selected for surgery.
Operation Smile began when my wife Kathy and I were asked to go on a medical trip to the Philippines to take care of children who were born with cleft lips and cleft palates.
Everywhere we turned, people were tugging at our sleeves and begging us to help their children. We were able to operate on 40 children that year, but we turned away 250. It was heartbreaking for us. So we gathered a group of our friends and came back and took care of all those children that we turned away.
That decision literally changed the course and the direction of our lives, our family's life, and I believe our values in life. We organized more teams to help more children, and Operation Smile was born. We provided hundreds of thousands of surgeries. But there are so many more children who are still waiting for our help.
Raymart is almost 5. On his first day of school, the other kids bullied and abused him. Now he hides at home. His mom, Mary Jane, feels ashamed and helpless.
I feel very bad. Who would not feel bad when they do this to your child? They always mock him and tease him because he's not normal like the other children. I tell them, don't pay attention to them. He says, can you have my lip fixed so that when I grow up, they won't mock me or tease me anymore?
When Mary Jane heard about an Operation Smile medical mission on the radio, she borrowed the $4 bus fare to get here. This is their only hope for surgery.
Every mission we come on, we screen more patients than we can operate on, and we have to turn some away. It's heartbreaking to see the no's.
About 50 patients will have to be turned away because we can't help them this time. They'll have to wait until we come back.
These people have traveled, sometimes hundreds of miles to get here. And hopefully next time they'll be able to receive the surgeries they need.
If it was my child, do you think I want to hear come back next year? Thousands of kids are born every year all over this world without access to any surgery. We can change it. We can fix this problem.
As volunteers, it breaks our hearts to have to turn children away, especially when the only thing standing in the way of surgery is time and money. Right now, you can help these desperate parents and children who can only hope and only pray for a miracle. Together with caring people across Canada, you can be that miracle for a child. Stay with us to see the amazing difference you can make.
You can help provide a complete surgery for a waiting child right now for $240. Just $240 transforms a child's life forever. Or if you prefer, you can give $20 a month. Your gifts will send our medical volunteers and equipment to remote places and help ensure we can provide free, safe surgery to every child in need, so no child has to be turned away. Thousands of children are waiting. Call now or go to operationsmile.ca.
An Operation Smile volunteer medical team has come to the Philippines to provide a week of free surgeries to children born with cleft lip and cleft palate.
These pictures, does he know what he's going to have done today?
On surgery day, Alj gets to meet a surgeon and sees photos of what he can look like.
Just me and you. We'll give you a new smile. The surgery only takes 45 minutes to an hour, but it completely changes our lives. It's going to be a night and day difference for him. They won't be able to call him the terrible things that he's been called in the past.
I am so happy because he is now okay.
The next morning, Alj is still a little groggy from surgery, but his mom only has hugs of gratitude.
It's like a rebirth for him. He has new self-identity. Everything will be different for him.
Thanks to all the dedicated Operation Smile volunteers and donors who helped provide his surgery, Alj has a brand new future that he could only dream of just a few days ago. Today, Maria is all smiles as she learns what to expect in surgery and practices on her dolly patient. She's calm going into surgery, but it's hard for Mom. Melanie waits anxiously for about 45 minutes while the Operation Smile volunteer surgical team does what they do best: transforming a child's life forever.
We operate in some of the world's poorest and most remote places, and yet we do not sacrifice quality. We bring everything from the medicine and the anesthesia to the sutures and all of the surgical equipment that we need.
Finally, surgery is complete and the waiting is over. Melanie is overwhelmed at the sight of her daughter's face. She can hardly believe she's the same girl.
Oh, she's beautiful now. I'm very happy. I'm not worried anymore. I'm not nervous anymore.
To see her daughter's face restored is a feeling that is beyond words. The next morning, it's a new beginning for Maria, who can't wait to go home and show off her new smile.
I am very happy that my daughter is now fixed and they won't tease her or mock her anymore. And she will grow up to be a beautiful young woman.
Mary Jane is thrilled that Raymart has been selected for surgery.
Does he know that he is a handsome boy when this is together? Perfecto. Are you ready? It's going to be you and me. We're a team.
This little boy's life-changing surgery takes less than an hour, and then he's on his way to the recovery room to be reunited with his mom. Mary Jane has to take a second look. She can't believe her son's new face.
Jared, you're going to make me cry.
He looks so good. When I first saw him, I was trying to look at his face, but I didn't recognize him. I only recognized his cry. From now on, they won't be teasing or mocking him anymore.
The next day, Mom has a smile. She's grateful for her son's new life.
How are you? You know, we like to see a problem and solve the problem. And you can take someone who's a total outcast, and in as little as 45 minutes, it all changes. If you're willing and ready to help somebody else, your life becomes a better life. Whether it's me personally as a surgeon or whether it's a donor. And you can't do it without one another. Be good. Thank you. Thank you.
None of this would be possible without donations and without those people out there that are kind enough to bring this service to those who don't have it.
No amount's too small, whether you have $5 to give or $5,000. Every penny is put to the best possible use.
Your heart has to feel it first. And then you can say to yourself, well, what if I gave up lunch tomorrow and gave those dollars to a child who didn't have a chance at a normal life? Then you become as important a part of our team as any surgeon, anesthesiologist, or nurse. Because of you, we were able to change the life of a child somewhere who may never ever know your name, but will never forget your kindness.
If you've been moved by what you've seen, don't let this moment slip away. Join caring people all across Canada, and together with volunteers like me, you'll give a child a new smile and change their life forever. Call now or go online. Thank you so much for your generous support.
They're ridiculed, rejected, sometimes even hidden away. Thousands will die. Every 3 minutes, a child is born with cleft lip or cleft palate. In many countries, they can't afford the surgery they need. You can help provide a complete surgery for a waiting child right now for $240. Just $240 transforms a child's life forever. Over 5,000 of the world's top doctors and nurses are standing by to volunteer their time. Most of the medical supplies are donated. We're ready to be in more countries and reach more children, but we can't do it without your help. That's why it's so important that you call right now with your gift of $240 to help provide surgery for a waiting child. Or if you prefer, you can give $20 a month. Your gifts will help send our medical volunteers and equipment to remote places and help train local doctors and nurses so we can provide safe surgery and follow-up care free of charge. Call now or go to operationsmile.ca. You'll receive inspiring before and after photos, and you'll also get information about how your gifts are used and the difference you're making around the world. You can even give automatically on your debit or credit card. It's convenient and saves money so that more goes directly to help children. When you use your debit or credit card, we'll send you this official Operation Smile t-shirt to help spread the word.
What I find so rewarding is knowing that what Operation Smile is doing is truly changing someone's life.
With this, 45 minutes to an hour, you see it in front of your eyes. It's instant. It's instant. A life and lives have changed. That really appeals to me.
It's a rebirth. They're reborn. And their future is now almost unlimited, it seems. Whereas before, they saw themselves as imperfect and unworthy.
When I look at the before and after picture, their eyes are lit up, their faces are lit up. They look so different.
I know that the amount that I give is making a child smile.
$240 can help provide a surgery that will change a child's life forever. Or a gift of any amount will make a difference.
We need to do more. We need to be in more places. We need to help more kids. And we can't do it without you.
Thousands of children are waiting. Please call or go online now. Help us change lives, one smile at a time.
I could see how so little could make such a big difference.
It's just amazing, the transformation. Donating, I feel that I am part of this great and fantastic team.
I don't know how you cannot be involved when you see the before and after. These children are so changed.
You just want to hug them and feel the joy that you are part of the beautiful smile. What more do you want?
It's just like magic to see the change just in a matter of an hour or two.
It's a miracle. It truly is. We as donors create the miracles.
The preceding program was sponsored by Operation Smile Canada.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, fries are mine!
No, the fries
are yours. Oh, well, those if you have to deal with it. You'll do this, I'll do this.
Conversations about the issues shaping our nation.
That's a little bit of crazy that's been happening in Canada.
Politically correctness, it is the cancer in our Canadian society.
Informative, insightful, shocking, level-headed.
Let's get to it.
It's a show just for women. Okay, maybe not only for women, but we connect and share honestly about real issues as we journey together through life, love, and relationships. It's a brand new season on See Hear Love. Watch Monday nights on Yes TV.
a weekly TV show
So many couples get a great start
to help strengthen marriages.
and they stop beating their marriage.
These are too big of things to actually put on a person.
Love my bride.
We can make a better us. Join us.
A Better Us, Thursdays at 8:30, 9:30 Mountain.
Hello, Sid Roth here. Welcome. Welcome to my world, where it's naturally supernatural. In my entire life, I have never seen America, and actually the rest of the countries of the world, so divided. Or divided politically, racially, economically, every area you can think of. But not just divided, to the point of anger and violence and even murder. I've never seen this before. My guess says it's not flesh and blood. You guys are looking at the natural. My guess says it's an ancient demonic spirit that he knows how to stop it in its tracks. Anyone interested in finding out?
Is there a supernatural dimension? A world beyond the one we know? Can we tap into ancient secrets of the supernatural? Can our dreams contain messages from heaven? Is God ready to bring a tsunami wave of healing onto planet Earth today? Sid Roth has spent over 40 years researching the strange world of the supernatural. Join Sid for this edition of It's Supernatural.
You know, about 13 years ago, Lance and I developed a friendship, and you and your wife came to Israel with me because I was going to speak at a New Age festival. We didn't know what to expect, but it was a horror story. That's the only way I can describe it. It had rained the day before, and we were slushing through the mud. And there are people with drugs and looking the way they normally look at these New Age festivals. And so I start my lecture, and we bumped into a spirit, an ancient spirit, and both of us were not aware of it until after it surfaced. Lance, what was your recollection of that?
I mean, it was like Woodstock. That was what was unusual about it. Who expects Woodstock in Israel? So, and I'm going down there with you, and I figure, okay, we're going to have a nice Christian tent meeting. We get into this tent, and it was the most bizarre and enlightening experience of my life, because I could never understand when Paul would preach and there was these riots breaking out. In any church, the ushers grab somebody before anything gets out of control. I'd never been in a riot. You created a riot. You start talking, and they got the nude swimmers in the back, in the foreground, in the ocean. We've got people with like mascara on and like wood voodoo hats on. It was bizarre. Canes walking around doing curses on them. And then we got people manifesting, shouting at Sid right in the middle of his message, and they're cursing at him, dropping these obscene words, and I'm standing there in shock. I'm thinking, I didn't expect this at a meeting. And the yelling's going on, and Sid is engaging this person who's yelling back at him. I said, this is total chaos. And in the middle of it, one guy who's clearly not a Christian, a Jewish guy, is laying down on a towel watching on this, and he sits up and he goes, wait a second. Hey, I don't know what all you guys are yelling about, but my back just got healed. Sid goes, what? In the middle of all of this, your back got healed? Is anybody else getting touched by God? And this is stupefying to people yelling at you, because now they're being interrupted by a supernatural act, and they don't know what to say. They were cussing at you. That worked. Now this guy's other people are going, hey, my neck. And he's, well, check it out, whatever's wrong.
But Lance, what you did not know, and what I did not know, I left and I thought, I failed you, God, miserably. I mean, I saw the healing, and a few people raised their hands, a bunch of these were Jewish people, and received the Lord, but I just figured, what a mess. I'm sorry I even got involved. I get back to the States, and I find out one young man got saved, who today is the leading evangelist, Messianic Jewish evangelist in Israel. What? You don't know what God is doing. Well, Lance, you don't know what God's doing in your life. I mean, out of nowhere, USA Today has an article. They say you're one of the few people that prophesied Donald Trump would win. You even went beyond that. You talked about what would occur. He'd be like Cyrus. He would do some things for America that like no one else could possibly do. He had a best-selling book before he won, saying he was going to win. How could you be so sure he was going to win?
Well, I think that ignorance is bliss. I was so focused on the battle for America, and there was such an urgency in me for the outcome of this thing, that, and I had people come up to me and say, Lance, why would you destroy your whole ministry credibility on a political prediction? People can go down with this. And I said, look, it's not a political prediction. I'm just saying what I heard God say. Isaiah 45 will be the 45th president. I believe that this has to happen in America, and I think the church has a choice. And, you know, most people don't know this, but the victory that he had in the Electoral College was based on 0.008% of the total votes. And that means 0.008% of the total votes showed up in 5 swing states that gave him the Electoral College. It looked as though he had the Electoral College sweep with 300 votes, but the reality is it was the Christian turnout at the last minute that produced the 0.008 in 5 swing states. In other words, God did this by a razor-thin margin, and a remnant of believers really determined the future for the United States. And it gives me just goosebumps to realize that it always comes down for us to the remnant. It's a remnant that'll make a difference in America and the world.
Lance, I have to ask you a personal question. You're so involved in the political arena today. Has this been a passion for many years?
Not at all. Absolutely hate politics. And I was so ignorant.
I don't blame you.
I don't tell you, I'm so ignorant in politics. I had a door open up in Washington through the Cedars Fellowship years ago, which works with all these ambassadors. And I wanted to go down and do global evangelism. And at dinner, I'm meeting with a major senator's wife and stuff. And I was saying, you know who would be a good person to run with your husband on a ticket? And I suggested somebody who was from the other party. And it was like, it was so stupid. Everybody stared at me. And I said, you know what? I don't know what I'm talking about. I had no political bearings whatsoever. I'm a revivalist. I want to talk about revival. I don't
then
talk about
you
politics.
Find yourself in Trump Towers with President Trump. And you're saying, God, how did I get here? And he spoke to you.
That was ridiculous. I mean, I'm on my second trip there, and both times I felt uncomfortable. But the second trip, I was brought in, imagine this, I was brought in by some of the African-American leaders who wanted to deal with building better race relationships with Donald Trump. And when I'm up there in, the second visit, and everybody's yelling, all this activity, I'm saying, I don't want to be in politics. I don't want to be in race issues. I just want to preach the Bible. And that was when the Lord said to me, I'm only answering your prayers. And it was just like a clear thought, because I thought I'm off track. And I said, Lord, when did I ever pray that I wanted to get involved with presidential politics or complicated race relations? And the Lord said, every time you pray in tongues, you tell me you want to get involved with healing the nation's problems, and I'm putting you where you can do it. At that moment, I thought, my gosh, like you, I'm a passionate believer in praying in the Spirit, but I thought I was praying something else. I thought I was praying for financial support. Who knows what I was thinking of? I was praying my way into Trump Towers.
You were praying God's kingdom be on earth as it is in heaven. That's what you were praying.
And after that, every time I pray in tongues, I think I have no idea what I'm setting myself up for, but it's the plan of God.
Okay, now we have a phenomena that everyone's talking about. It's called fake news. You know what's behind that phenomena. Clue us in.
Yeah. So I'm watching the fake. Now, I know this is a spiritual battle going on with Trump. I mean, it is clearly a spiritual battle. And the reason I know that is because just the manifestation. I mean, you do the Supernatural show. If there's in your synagogue, everything's normal, and Jesus comes in, and suddenly somebody starts screaming and yelling and cussing, you know the problem isn't the new preacher. The problem is that there's an anointing on what's happening, and it's driving to the surface something is hidden.
It's like what happened at the New Age Festival.
Precisely. It was the chaos that was going on because of the anointing. And you and I are looking at it thinking something's wrong. It was actually an evidence that God's power was visiting.
But you have identified there is an ancient spirit behind this. Tell me about that spirit.
Yes, because I'm saying these manifestations in the nation, the race riots, the this riot, the that, the Berkeley, these are manifestations of demons, Sid. This is demons stirring up flesh into, and why are people so passionately and ideologically toxic over this? So here's how the spirit works. It is a world-ruling class spirit. There are spiritual principalities, powers, and rulers of the darkness of this world. This is a world ruler. It is the prince behind mind control. So when you're in like propaganda stuff like Nazi Germany or in communist Mao world, this spirit works through mind control on a mass level. And it works in order to divide people against people. So Satan knows that if he can create poor against rich, male against female, young against old, black against white, heterosexual, homosexual, the more division he can create, the more power he can consolidate. This spirit is an expert at serving Lucifer in sowing division to divide people to create new power structures.
And by the way, it's not just politics. It hits you right in your home, right in your church, right in your children's school. It doesn't discriminate. It hits everyone. Lance, the word Leviathan means twisting serpent, right. Like a crocodile or an alligator. Right. Tell me why.
Well, it's referred in Job as a creature of the Nile, so we really do know that's talking about this species. And the way that it operates is 40% of the crocodile is teeth. So that tells you that this spirit mostly is in the mouth. It's mostly a communicating spirit.
Big mouth.
A big mouth, yeah. And its teeth, like a crocodile, when a crocodile fastens on you, it doesn't have the ability to move its jaws. So what it does, and you see these on like National Geographic, you'll see this spinning, like in the, meanwhile in the Nile, this thing is spinning, there's poor water buffaloes getting, tormented. What they do is the two of them at a time will go up and sneak up. Here's the key. They're undetected. Then they suddenly come up, grab a hold of a limb, some vulnerable point, and they do what's called the death spiral. They sink their teeth in, and they spin and use their body weight to tear the limb off. And by dismembering, they can destroy. If that isn't working, they spin and pull you under into their realm and cut off the oxygen. And I'm looking at that and saying, 5 times in the Bible, this spirit's referred to as Leviathan, and it's in the water. And Lord, what is it that you're saying about the operation of this? And here's the pretty clear truth. David said, as a king, all day long do my enemies twist my words. They're my enemies without a cause. Meaning David had political adversaries who would seize on anything he said in order to distort the meaning of it, to divide his administration.
You know what? We have all seen that happen in our life. I won't even mention the names, but 2 names that are household words in Christendom. I was at a planning meeting with them, and I made a stay. I spoke for a little bit. I sat down, and one of these 2 got up and said, I'll take what anyone says, but I cannot take what you just said. Ooh. And I'm thinking, what did I say? These are national leaders. And they said, you cannot say it is wrong to evangelize Jewish people. And I thought, that's the last thing I'd ever say. And a woman sitting next to me that I didn't even know stands up and said, he didn't say that. That was Leviathan.
Exactly.
Makes no sense whatsoever.
Exactly. Now imagine if he hadn't spoken it. He could have walked out of there
and thought it
and said to other people
and gossip
in a closed room, I heard what Sid Roth said. Would you? But then go, oh, he said what? Now the division starts. Now the dismembering starts, and that's how that spirit works. When this thing works, what I've noticed is that spirit, it's called the king over the children of pride in Job, which means that when you're under that influence, you'll notice that people that are actually torqued out by this spirit are not in a teachable moment. If you try to correct them, it's difficult to win the argument, which is why your approach on dealing with this spirit has to be the wisdom. That's why we do training in the material that we've got on how to deal with it. Because there's 3 levels of stronghold. In politics, in ideology, in religion, from Islam, Christian, 3 levels of stronghold. And this, by the way, is in Pentecostal teaching. This is the 3 levels of stronghold we work with in corporations when we're changing a corporate culture. The first level is opinion. People just have opinions because they pick it up like virus. They just pick it up on social media and friends. The second level is belief. The third level is conviction. The hardest one to beat is the conviction level. What this spirit does when it gets a hold of you is it moves you almost supernaturally into angry conviction. It's not, people become radically convinced
Isn't
they're
this
right.
what we're seeing in the fake news?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not even an opinion. It's a conviction, and people are certain they're right, but pride makes you unteachable. So it's like, how do you win the argument with that? So this spirit is doing a breakup job on America. It does it on marriages. It does it on businesses and churches.
Okay. We recognize this spirit. We've seen it operate in our life, in our families, in our nation. Enough is enough. Let's find out how to get rid of it. Be right back.
We will be right back to It's Supernatural.
Call now and get Dr. Lance Wallnau's brand new 2-part audio CD teaching set, Leviathan, The Twisting Serpent, and his 3-part audio CD teaching set, Breaking Controlling Spirits. Yours for a donation of $47. Shipping and handling is included. Ask for offer number 9485. Through Dr. Lance Wallnau's powerful teaching, Leviathan, you will know that the spirit of Leviathan is troubling you if the meaning of your words are continually being twisted. You notice division and disunity working to dismember key relationships God has put into your life. There is an atmosphere of accusation against you. You're struggling with insomnia, mental focus, or having nightmares. You feel distant from God or feel as if you are stuck in a wilderness experience. Dr. Lance Wallnau reveals how to quickly detect the spirit of Leviathan. Protect yourself, your family, business, and ministry. Lance will equip you to break the demonic influence, and he teaches you how to pray for others who are in its grasp. Through Lance Wallnau's powerful 3-part audio CD teaching, Breaking the Controlling Spirits, you will understand that there is a war being fought in the unseen realm and the battlefield is in your mind. Be empowered to discern demonic attacks. Learn to use spiritual battle strategies on how to cripple the spiritual forces trying to wreak havoc in your life. Banish fear and dwell in an abundance of peace and joy always. Deploy heaven's secret weapon for overcoming addictions. Render powerless the global mind control attempt to manipulate your thoughts and emotions. Lance prays for you to be set free from all controlling spirits and be anointed for victory.
Leviathan spirit. I never understood that behind what we call the divisions in America, in the world, divisions in families, divisions in politics, divisions in race, divisions in wealth. I've never seen so many divisions, but behind that is an ancient spirit called Leviathan.
Don't miss out on getting Lance Wallnau's brand new 2-part audio CD teaching set, Leviathan, The Twisting Serpent, and his 3-part audio CD teaching set, Breaking Controlling Spirits. Yours for a donation of $47. Shipping and handling is included. Ask for offer number 9485, or you can send your check to Sid Roth, Messianic Vision Canada, P.O. Box 5100, Markham, Ontario, Canada, L3R0S4. Please specify offer number 9485. Or log on to sidroth.org. Call or write today.
We now return to It's Supernatural.
Lance, practically tell me, how does this play out in a family in America or in Paris, France, or wherever you're watching?
It's easy to detect once you see it. So like the creature in the Nile, you can see those crocodiles that they're floating, their eyes are protruding, and it's like the moment you catch it, it goes back underground. If you hit a moment when you are flooded, Sid, with toxic thoughts that produce rage, anger, hatred, and a sense of violence towards someone or something or an idea, you can know that's not coming from heaven.
Yeah, but what if you say, but there are reasons I'm feeling the way I'm feeling? There are always reasons.
There's always reasons why that happens. The secret is that out of nowhere, you'll be thinking about a person or a thing, and the feelings will start to come up. And so that's the underwater part. If you can detect it, the moment you can detect it, and this is particularly important for businesses, ministries, and we've all seen it. The setup is this. You have a bit of a strained relationship with somebody. All that it takes is one incident, one wrong word, and snap. It's as though everything that you were thinking about them is confirmed. And in truth, that first seed that got put in you was a spiritual seed. So I tell people this, that you have to be able to catch toxic thinking towards relationships that are in your life. Satan is in the business of tearing relationships. I can't necessarily deal with everything going on around the world, but I can have authority over what's in my own garden. And so I'm going to make sure that whatever feelings I have towards the people that are around me, that I catch it when the feelings come, if they're negative, and I say, is that you, Lord? Or what is that discerning? Because the only time you'll ever get anything that's negative from heaven is a discerning of spirits.
And that's the missing ingredient.
And that's the missing ingredient, discerning. Jesus knew. He said, the man who's going to betray me has his hand on the table. His spirit was troubled. That's far different than having toxic thoughts that are hostile and negative about another person. When a man gets it towards his wife, it's the beginning of the divorce. When a woman has it towards her husband, it's the loss of respect that leads to a divorce. When a child has it towards a parent, it's the moment they stop listening to correction. And so the spirit gets, once people get the teaching, they see it. And the moment you see it, you can break it. It's as though you no longer got control.
But here's the thing that amazes me. I know if you're dealing with a demon, you say with a loud voice, get out in the name of Jesus. I bind you. And you say that won't have any effect on this spirit. What does?
Right. And that's the mystery. It's because when you're dealing with a world ruler like this level, the smart strategy is to let the Lord do the deliverance. This is one spirit where what we do is we have to pull out of the emotional connection. Because that spirit, you see people that get into a fight on the street, it's going to be escalated, matched with escalated. What we have to do is de-escalate. We literally have to go into a place of humility and the love of God, and it disconnects the power of that hook from us. That doesn't mean you're not going to come back. Like, for instance, I deal with media. I have to constantly do what Jesus said. He said, take heed what you hear and take heed how you hear. Well, how am I supposed to do this when I'm dealing with political subject matter? I have to hear what they're saying, even if it's Leviathan. The Lord said, take heed how you hear it. Don't let it get a reaction in you where you start to become a problem too. I have to be able to be, in a sense, able to see the lie, able to love the voices talking to me, and able to turn it around to find out how to show other people what's really going on. I can't afford to get hooked in that spirit.
Lance, would you pray right now for people to operate in discernment? I need this discernment because we're coming into a moment in history like the world has never seen before. It's a borrowed moment that should have not been there. But God rearranged things for the destiny of America to evangelize the world. And we need this discernment. Pray that right now.
We need it. This spirit of discernment, the one gift that the church needs most, we talk about word of knowledge, we love it. We talk about healing, we love prophecy, we love faith. But the discerning of spirits is going to save your life, because it'll protect you from the wrong partnership. It'll protect you from being sucked into the wrong fight at the wrong time. Here's my prayer. I pray for you right now that in your marriage, in your ministry, in your business, and in all future partnerships, especially some of you, I sense the favor of God is on you. You're entering a new season. You have to be very careful, because when you have favor, you attract the right and the wrong opportunities. I pray for the discerning of spirits. May you discern Leviathan, that twisting serpent, when it's trying to produce division between you and somebody God called you to walk with in agreement. I pray in the name of Jesus that you'll have a gut-level spiritual discerning, that you won't have to be analyzing with your head, but you'll have it in your heart as Jesus had it when his spirit was disturbed because of the breach of covenant at the table. Father, I thank you that the discerning of spirits is operating to understand what manner of spirit we're dealing with. In Jesus' name.
And Jesus summarized it best. Love never, never fails.
All around us, we're seeing great hostilities and misunderstandings between nations. Within America, we're witnessing divisions between political parties, within political parties, between young and old, between male and female, between races, and even within the body of Messiah. Do you or someone you know find it difficult to focus? Do you experience moments when your mind is flooded with hostile, hateful, or accusing thoughts towards others? It could very well be that you have encountered a spirit the Bible describes as Leviathan, a world ruler in the occult hierarchy of hell that rules over nations. Call now and get Dr. Lance Wallnau's brand new 2-part audio CD teaching set, Leviathan, the Twisting Serpent, and his 3-part audio CD teaching set, Breaking Controlling Spirits. Yours for a donation of $47. Shipping and handling is included. Ask for offer number 9485.
Leviathan will flood your mind with hostile, accusatory, wounded, whatever vulnerability you have. It will speak to you in terms of making a toxic poison about your father, your daughter, your partner, your spouse, your pastor, or whatever. And the moment you're poisoned, it starts to go to work and twisting the relationship.
Through Dr. Lance Wallnau's powerful teaching, Leviathan, you will know that the spirit of Leviathan is troubling you if the meaning of your words are continually being twisted. You notice division and disunity working to dismember key relationships God has put into your life. There is an atmosphere of accusation against you. You're struggling with insomnia, mental focus, or having nightmares. You feel distant from God or feel as if you are stuck in a wilderness experience. Dr. Lance Wallnau reveals how to quickly detect the spirit of Leviathan. Protect yourself, your family, business, and ministry. Lance will equip you to break the demonic influence, and he teaches you how to pray for others who are in its grasp. Through Lance Wallnau's powerful 3-part audio CD teaching, Breaking the Controlling Spirits, you will understand that there is a war being fought in the unseen realm and the battlefield is in your mind. Be empowered to discern demonic attacks. Learn to use spiritual battle strategies on how to cripple the spiritual forces trying to wreak havoc in your life. Banish fear and dwell in an abundance of peace and joy always. Deploy heaven's secret weapon for overcoming addictions. Render powerless the global mind control attempt to manipulate your thoughts and emotions. Lance prays for you to be set free from all controlling spirits and be anointed for victory.
I've read many times about this Leviathan spirit. I never understood that behind what we call the divisions in America, in the world, divisions in families, divisions in politics, divisions in race, divisions in wealth. Lance Wallnau, I've never seen so many divisions, but behind that is an ancient spirit called Leviathan.
Don't miss out on getting Lance Wallnau's brand new 2-part audio CD teaching set, Leviathan, the Twisting Serpent, and his 3-part audio CD teaching set, Breaking Controlling Spirits. Yours for a donation of $47. Shipping and handling is included. Ask for offer number 9485, or you can send your check to Sid Roth, Messianic Vision Canada, P.O. Box 5100, Markham, Ontario, Canada, L3R0S4. Please specify offer number 9485. Or log on to sidroth.org. Call or write today.
Next week on It's Supernatural.
Hello, I'm David Herzog. Join me on It's Supernatural as I share with you that this is the season for you to begin to encounter the greater glory of God in every area of your life.
Your gifts to this ministry will help Sid air It's Supernatural in Israel 28 times a week and distribute his evangelistic book to the Jewish people worldwide.
The destination, where nature can tell you the real story, where you can find no one but our Creator, where you can connect to yourself when you disconnect with anything else, where you can explore who are you and what's your purpose. It's here at Anchor Retreat Center, nested on the scenic Beaver Creek River in the town of Gilmore. Book with us now.
It's a show just for women. Okay, maybe not only for women, but we connect and share honestly about real issues as we journey together through life, love, and relationships. It's a brand new season on See Hear Love. Watch Monday nights on Yes TV.
A weekly TV show
So many couples get a great start
to help strengthen marriages.
and they stop beating their marriage.
These are too big of things to actually put on a person.
Love my bride.
We can make a better us. Join us.
A Better Us, Thursdays at 8:30, 9:30 Mountain.
Two pair of prescription eyeglasses or sunglasses from only $199. All summer long at Hakeem Optical.
Today's program is brought to you by donors and friends of Focus on the Family Canada.
Hey, my job right now is to teach the right lesson the right way. And when I think like that, it gets me focused on what I'm trying to do and helps me simply to be more in control and more effective.
Welcome to Focus on the Family Canada Television, helping families thrive.
Hey, John, we have friends in the gallery here, and they're writing notes. People in the sound booth are writing notes from the last time we were together.
Maybe I'll write some notes, too.
You know we are hitting a nerve here when we're all taking notes on how to do a better job parenting. Dr. Todd Cartmel has written a book, 8 Simple Tools for Raising Great Kids. Let me ask you this, Todd. First of all, welcome back to Focus.
Hey, great to be here. It's been a long time since last time.
You know, sometimes I can have a little bit of a critical eye when it comes to the 8 simple things of doing whatever. 8 simple ways to a great marriage, 10 whatever. The goal isn't necessarily just to make it simple, but to make it practical and to help parents do a better job. So I want to give you a little moment here to talk about that. These are just relatively simple ways to address parenting needs, things your children are going to need from you, like a flower needs nutrient.
Right.
A child needs a certain parenting style to be able to be healthy and to flourish, right?
Right. Yeah, totally correct. I mean, if I could even just read the 8 simple, we won't, 'cause we're not going to talk about them. I mean, the tools, and these are tools that every single mom, every single dad, parent needs to do. In fact, when we do them, I guess we want to do them well. So, the 8 simple tools, Jim, are talking, listening, influencing our kids with our words, connecting, which means, developing a strong, close relationship, teaching, encouraging, correcting, and leading. And, and when I take a look at that list myself, and I say, well, what's one tool there that I could do without? And I can't think of one. I mean, we need all those 8 tools.
Yeah, and that's really good. At Focus on the Family, that is what we're trying to do, is to help you as a parent each and every day do the best job you can do. And I can tell you, after meeting with thousands of families, those parents that are intentional about what they're doing, it shows in the children. It really, really does. But it's not a formula. And you're a child psychologist, Todd,
Right.
so you know there's no easy A plus B equals perfect child.
No, that's for sure.
I appreciate your experience. We didn't mention, Jim, that Todd and his wife Laura live in Chicago. He's written a number of books. He's been a child psychologist for a long time, sees a lot of kids, knows a lot of stuff. But one of the things I appreciate is that he's been very accessible with these ideas. They're not so lofty that I can't put them into practice, and that list of 8 is really important. Well, and if you missed last time, get the CD or the download, because I thought there was really practical advice there. And like I said jokingly, we were all writing notes. But if you're in that parenting phase of your life, there was some meat that you need to catch. So go back, download it, get it for your smartphone, whatever you need to do. Todd, right now, what I want to do is turn to something you mentioned, the flexible thoughts.
Sure.
In teaching your kids some nimbleness, it sounds like. But teaching your children flexible thoughts, what are you driving at?
Well, this is probably one of the most frequent topics in the office when I see kids. And the idea is very simple. There's lots of times every day where, something for all of us in any age where something doesn't go the way you were hoping or expecting. If you're a kid, you have more homework than you wanted to, your baseball game got rained out, your brother's making annoying noises, whatever it might be. And when that happens, and again, this is daily, when that happens, the sequence is what tends to rush into your head is what I simply call mad thoughts.
What does that sound like, a mad thought?
There's lots of them. You'll probably recognize a few. A mad thought, number one mad thought of all time would be, it's not fair. My dad's so mean. My mom never lets me do anything fun. This is going to take forever. How come everyone else has more fun than me, et cetera, et cetera. Now, those are easy to think of. The problem with them is that by and large, they're just not true. Just because your mom says, hey, you can't have another bowl of cereal, doesn't mean she's mean and she's evil, but that's what the mad thoughts say to you. So the mad thoughts take over your head real quick. And then in that moment, since the way you're thinking about something filters and, I should say, flavors the way you feel about it, I'll teach kids the mad thoughts now make you have mad feelings. So in 2 seconds, you've gone from regular kid to mad head, mad feelings kid. And then in that state, it's really easy then to make a bad choice or a disrespectful choice with your words, with your actions. And now you're in all sorts of, all the kids will say, trouble. Why? Because you're acting disrespectfully, but your train went off the tracks up here. Not because you had too much homework that day. That was just a situation that happens to tons of kids. It's the way you were thinking about it that threw everything else off.
Yeah.
And of course, this is going to happen to us as parents. You can probably picture that really quick. Now, the solution, we don't want to be thinking those mad thoughts. The alternative is to train our kids to think flexible thoughts. Because, in any situation, the kid who has a lot of homework, one kid's throwing a fit about it. Well, some other kid isn't. Well, what's he doing? How come he's not throwing a fit?
He's just getting it done.
Well, no, he's getting it done because he's thinking flexibly about it. It's the same sequence. He's got a bunch of homework, but in his head, he's thinking something different. He does not have a head full of mad thoughts. He's thinking, well, I'll just get it done. Yeah, it's no big deal. Everyone has homework, not just me. Yeah, the sooner I start, the sooner I'm done. I'll just do it. When I'm done, I can play. Now, those are flexibles. And when you're thinking like that, notice the different emotion. You don't feel all mad and just, it's so terrible. You feel, well, kids would say, feel fine. And then in that state, it's so much easier to make a good choice, a smart choice, a respectful choice with your words, with your actions. The outcome, great. How much trouble is the flexible kid in? 0. Who gets their homework done first? Flexible. Who's not getting it done? Mad. Who's in trouble? The mad guy. Who's outside playing? The flexible kid.
Well, let me ask you this, though. When you have a chronic mad kid.
Sure, yeah.
Where do you start? What is the recipe to get him or her back on track?
Yeah, well, what you've got is you've got a kid, just like you have physical habits, you've got mental habits. You've got a kid who just is in the habit of thinking mad thoughts so quick his head's spinning. He doesn't even know he's doing it.
It's a pattern.
It's a pattern, yeah, just a mental habit. When something happens, and maybe he verbalizes it, maybe he doesn't. But even if he's not verbalizing it, he's thinking it because that's what controls the rest of it down the track. So the way you intervene is you say, well, I've got a kid who's obviously quite skilled at thinking mad thoughts, but that's not quite the skill we're going for. I'd like to help him get more skilled at thinking flexible thoughts. And so again, you're turning into now a teacher. You say, well, my kid's skill at thinking flexibly isn't so hot. Or it's good sometimes, but other times it's not so great. So in these certain situations, I see what's happening. The mad thoughts are overtaking him. Well, then what we'll do is we'll sit down when we're not in one of these situations, and we'll help him. Maybe I'll kind of introduce the idea of mad and flexible. That's not too tricky. And then we'll start coming up with some flexibles, very simple sentence thoughts that would really help him make a good choice. And that's always the phrase. What flexible thought will help you make a good choice in this situation? And we'll come up with a couple. We'll write them down. We'll memorize them.
What would be an example of that, just to be practical for the parents writing notes?
Sure. Well, I'll give you the top 5. I call this my top 5 list. I teach this to kids all day long, every single day. Here they are, top 5. And again, this is not what the boy or girl is to say to somebody, though sometimes you
It's
can
what they're
verbalize
supposed to
them.
think.
It's what they're thinking, right? Number 1, I should just do it. When mom tells you to go brush your teeth, the smartest thing for you to think is, I should just do it, just get it done. Number 2, my personal favorite, it's no big deal. Can't I have a cookie right now? No big deal. Have one later. So number 1, I should just do it. Number 2, no big deal. Number 3, it won't take that long. Number 4, the sooner I start, the sooner I'm done. Number 5, that's okay. Can't go swimming right now. I can do it later. So that's okay. I can do it later. Those are 5 great ones. With little kids, with kids, 5 or 6 years old and older, you can teach all 5 and just have them memorize them.
I like that.
Little kids, just start with it's no big deal. That's pretty generic, and you can use that one a lot.
Let me ask you this: when should a parent go to someone like you, a child psychologist? And I know this is hard to define because it's so case by case. But if you have that chronic situation, when should a parent say, we may need somebody to talk with us about how to do this better? Because Johnny or Mary just isn't responding well.
Sure. Well, a lot of times, a parent really can, sit with their boys and girls and, talk about some of these ideas, even the idea of flexible, and introduce these skills and practice with them and help them learn them. Sometimes parents will memorize that list along with their kids, and they'll all kind of learn them and use them, and their parents will verbalize them. Oh, hey, the washing machine just broke. Hey, it's no big deal. We can get a guy to come fix it. Just verbalize that so you're modeling it, right?
Yeah.
And then that works lots and lots of times. But if you've got a boy or girl where, say we'll just say with anger, for instance, or their behavior, if it's really, really, problematically negative, in an extreme way, the fits are getting bigger, it's getting more hurtful with words or actions, or we're throwing things, it's getting more extreme, or you just see it's getting more frequent, and it's just happening a lot. And then, you're seeing that it's not dying down, it's continuing. That's when you go, okay, maybe it would be wise to talk to somebody.
To order today's featured resource, 8 simple tools for raising great kids, call 1-833-FOCUS-TV. That's 1-833-362-8788, or order online at focustv.ca. Thank you for watching Focus on the Family Canada Television. To help you develop your parenting skills, we have created the Thriving Parent Bundle, available at a savings of 60%. You'll receive 3 classic parenting resources: John Trent's The Blessing DVD, Tony and John Evans' The Kingdom Family Devotional,